What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's Colbert Tech Repair, where you get everything tech, news, gaming, and nerd related. And today, I'm going to show you a little replay of a game I just had. I haven't done one of these in a while, so I'm going to do some commentary on what I could have done differently and how the game went. So here I am playing Jester, a level 103 Zerg player. The map is Polar Night LE. And I'm going to go through what I decided to do in my opening. Most of the time in ZvZ, I've been trying to go Roach, Hydra, and Ling, but that hasn't been working out, so I decided I was going to change it up this time. Go a little bit quicker here. See, I believe I do a 14 pull. As you can see, he's one worker ahead, but now we're even. So now I'm 14. I should be getting ready to throw down my spawning pool. There we go. So, my spawning pool is down, and I decided to throw down an extractor. So right now my opponent has no spawning pool, no extractor. He is actually going for a hatchery first, which is very, very greedy in a ZvZ game. It's not very common to see a player go hatchery first. Right now, I know nothing about his scouting. All I know is I have a scouting overlord going over here to his main. I have another overlord checking out his gas timing on his natural. My spawning pool is up. I have 3 drones in gas, and I just started my hatch. His hatch will be completed before mine, but he has a later pool. Now, what am I getting this gas for? Well, most people would get this gas for the metabolic boost upgrade for the Zerglings, but I am getting this for a Baneling nest. I'm going to try to hold him off as long as I can with my Banelings until I can mass up enough Mutas to get this going. So, see here, I got his hatch is just about to finish up. I'm producing a Baneling nest, my hatchery, 4 Zerglings, and my queens. I start double queens. I think I end up with a total of 4 queens. He's starting up his 2 gas geysers here on his side. Double gas, and I'm starting up, I should be starting up my second gas around the 5-minute mark. See, I have 4 Banelings here ready for defense. I don't believe I get that overlord, do I? No, I don't, just barely. I have 4 Banelings for defense. I'm starting out my second gas. I have 16 workers in the natural. He is at 17 in the natural, and he has, or excuse me, in the main, and he has 3 in the natural. I have 1 in the natural. I do get this overlord though, which is a pretty good pick-off. So, from right here, I'm going to turn the music off. From right here, he decides to go for the metabolic boost upgrade to get some speedlings, and he gets a Baneling nest as well, as long as he has a scouting Zergling up here, and he's starting a spore crawler and a roach warren. Now over on my side, I decide, well, since I can hold off with these Banelings, I'm going to go up to my lair, and after the lair starts, I should be starting a spire. So my lair's done. My opponent has just started his lair. I have a bigger army supply right now with 3 Banes and 13 Zerglings. He has 3, 6, 9. He has 12, 13. He has 14 Zerglings. But he's going a little sneaky here. You should always have an overlord up here scouting for this. I did not at this point. But he morphs in 8 Banelings right here, and he's going to try to go for my Naturals mineral line. Of course, I have my defensive Banelings as with my defensive Zerglings up here. I spot this coming up my creep spread, so I pick up my Banelings, throw them up here, and I believe I lose only 2 drones there. So I lost my main army, but I only lost 2 drones. And behind this, my spire is now finished. My opponent is getting roaches and ground carapace. I am getting centrifugal hooks for my banelings, and I'm starting 12 more zerglings, as well as starting my third. So from here, we're pretty even. He has a higher income than me right now, but I am getting my natural saturated. And as you can see, I have 6 mutas on the way with +1 carapace, and he is just now starting his spire. So right here, I am ahead. He has some speedlings coming over here checking for a third, except I have my third over here, because it's a lot easier to defend. He's going to send in 1 scouting zergling. As you can see, I put all my spines up here to stop any potential baneling busts. So right now, in the army supply, he is ahead by zergling count, but my mutas just popped, so they're hanging out over here looking all happy. He's going to have 6 mutas on the way. Or excuse me, I have 6 more mutas on the way for a total of 12 mutas, and he still is just waiting on his spire. So, right now I am ahead in workers and army. He is just now getting his third down. He does have his natural almost saturated. I have my natural a lot more saturated than he does. He was hoping that baneling bust was going to end the game, but it did not. So he is starting +1 attack, while I have already started my +1 armor. +1 armor will always beat out +1 attack. If you are going mutas, always research armor first, because if you go on a muta versus muta battle, the person that has the +1 armor upgrade with the same amount of mutalisks will always win versus the +1 attack upgrade. So he got his mutas started. He has 4 mutas right now. Right now my muta count is up to 12. Units lost here. We've lost about the same amount of resources so far, so we're pretty good right there. My +1 carapace finished, so I am starting +1 attack right now. He is starting +2 carapace on his roaches. And I'm killing this overlord over here, just to get... I just like killing other people's overlords. It doesn't quite supply block him, but it does force him to have to sink another 100 minerals into an overlord. So now he knows I have mutas, so he starts some spores at his third and his natural. He doesn't have any spores at his main yet, but as of right now, I have my +1 carapace done. I'm starting +1 attack. We haven't really seen any major engagements yet, so let's speed up here. Alright, so he decides he's going to bring in his mutas. Now see, his mutas right now are 0-0. My mutas are 1-0. So I will win this attack easily. His +1 just finished up, but of course I have +1 armor. So I will win this battle very, very easy. I turn around here. I probably could have ended the game right around this mark. It would have been very close, but I probably could have ended the game here. I start 8 more mutalisks, 9 more mutalisks. He gets 3 more spores at his third. Right now I am starting to saturate my third gases. My natural is pretty well saturated, and so is my main. Right now I'm just banking on my mutas. I have my banelings and my spores down here, or my spines down here, to thwart off any zergling run-bys. I go over here, Spotty has a third. I take out his queen, take out his spores, take out his drones. I see the spores building over here, so I take it out real quick. He comes over and tries to attack, but his mutas are only +0, +1, and mine are 1-1 right now. So I would win that battle flawlessly. So he starts 10 Corruptors. Now Corruptors aren't necessarily a hard counter to mutas, but they do put out more damage than mutalisks do. Mutas deal 10 damage, and Corruptors deal 15. So he's thinking with his Corruptors he'll be able to outmatch my mutas here. But if you check out the unit tab itself, I have 27 mutas on the field to his 7 mutas. So I believe we go into an engagement here. He's going to bring up his mutas and his corruptors, thinking he can take on my army. You can see my army supply. I am quite far ahead, and I'm ahead in workers, and my bank is huge right now. So here we go. My mutas are now 1-1 with 2-2, should be finishing up here pretty soon. You can see I easily clean this up right here. He loses all of his corruptors. Units lost tab. He's lost double the resources I have. So I'm 20 army supply ahead, and I'm ahead about 7 drones. So I go ahead and start my 4th. He is still on his 3rd. He thinks he's going to do a big Zergling run by here. He does get some damage done, because I did not bring up my Banelings fast enough. But since I do have my Mutas here, and I do have Zerglings, I do keep this base fairly easily. You see, he loses every single one of them Zerglings, and I think he only killed 2 of my drones. So that was very, very bad for him. For such a high-level player, I thought he was going to do better there. You can see he does have some Roaches on the field now. I believe he starts going into Roach Hydra at this point. The Roaches are going to be +2/+2. My Mutas are going to be +2/+1 right now. And they're going to be +2/+2 fairly shortly. So he is on 3 bases. He has cleared out the spot for a 4th, which he's going to throw down now. My 4th has just now got up and going. But as you can see, I am still way ahead in army supply. So about right here, I probably could have went in and won the game, just because my mass muta count. Right now I have 37 mutas to his 8 roaches, but he does have a lot of spores. He has 7 spore crawlers. So I probably could have went in here and won very easily, but I just hung out and macroed up behind this just to make sure, just in case he did decide to do anything fancy. Now you can see he's getting the pathogen glands upgrade here. He's going to start infestors and hydralisks. He sees that I'm going just mass muta, so he knows he has to get hydras. I destroyed his 3rd. He just now got his 3rd back up, and he is now starting a 4th. I have my 4th up and going. Mining gas. I have 2 defensive banelings. Up here I have all my mutas. I have some defensive banelings here for Zergling run-bys, defensive banelings here. And I have nothing in my main because if a mutalist attack comes, I can easily stop it. So no big engagements happen yet. We'll go ahead and speed through here a little bit. You can see my army supply is over double of his. So now I start to see him move out some Hydras and Roaches. His Roaches and Hydras are 2-2. My Mutalists are 2-2. He is right on the edge of my creep here. So I decided I'm going to go throw in some Banelings and see if I can catch some of these Hydras off guard. I believe I got 1 Hydra there. But really these Banes are just for the Zergling run-bys. They're not to defend against Hydras. I start up 10 more Banelings just to be defensive, as long as 12 more Zerglings, because why not? I have the money, why not spend it? And I believe we go into an engagement here pretty quick. So we're both sitting on 4 bases, all saturated. Yep, he's going to start moving out here. He takes out an Overlord. I bring in some Banelings, take out his Hydras. And then here we go. Here's one of the bigger engagements. I see that he has infestors, so I take them out first, so the fungals only do minimal damage. And then I target fire the Hydras. I'm starting +3 attack here. And he thinks that these are all of my mutas. So he thinks, okay, I'm doing pretty well here. But I start 11 more Mutalisks, and I still have 36. I'll be up to 41 Mutalisks on the field here pretty soon. There's almost nothing that can stop that. He's lost 14,000 resources, I've lost 10,000, so I'm way ahead there. Decides to go and attack my 4th. I easily hold that off with my mutas. Save the base. I believe I go down here and try to take out his 3rd once again. He's not very good saturated on any of his bases right now. I don't know if he wasn't paying attention, but he has mined out of his main. He hasn't even come close to mining out of his natural. I am kind of getting close to mine out of my natural, but I am very well set here. I check for a potential 5th here and here, and then I go in and decide, well, since he's not going to attack me, there's a bunch of free juicy overlords right here. So I go in and just massacre these overlords. And this severely supply blocks him. So army supply is 136. I'm ahead in workers. I said I probably could have ended the game there, but I decided not to. Just because I know if I'm going to win, I can prolong it, and I can probably do pretty well. APM here, my APM is usually not very high. Averages about 70, so. But units lost, 16,000 to 12,000. Let's speed it up here. The game ends here fairly quickly. He's just trying to mass up Hydra lists right now, because that's really all he can do. I go ahead and get some swarm hosts up here just to pressure the front. I take out his 3rd once again, and completely destroy his forces right here. These roaches think they're going to go get something done, but they don't. So I burrow my swarm hosts, so he knows, alright, now I'm fucked. So he throws all of his drones down here to his 3rd. He completely takes them off of his natural because his natural is almost mined out. So he is oversaturated at his 3rd right now. He has no 4th. I am sitting on 5 bases right now. I have 100 more army supply than he does. And look at my bank. 4k minerals and 3k gas. I can remax all day on mutas. My muta count right now is 46 mutas to his 8 hydralisks. There's really nothing he can do here. So I throw down the swarm host just to pressure the front. And we come into one last engagement here. He brings his last remaining Hydras up here to the front. I see his Overseer here. I take out his Overseer. My mutas are now 3-3. And I win the game. Because there's nothing he can do here. He has no attacking units on the field. And I win. So guys, this has been a little overview of Mass Muta versus Roach Hydra. I hope you enjoyed this. If you want to take some tips from this, one, try to end the game earlier. I could have ended the game a couple times, but I mean, you can't see everything the opponent's doing. Always remember, if you're going to go Muta, make sure you have some spines at the front of your natural. As with defensive banelings, do not go for speed first, go for a bane nest first, so you can fend off any Zergling run-bys. Always have some defensive banes at all your bases. My ones here succeeded in defending. And that's really about it. Just mass up mutas, keep up your upgrades. Try to get some overlords whenever you can. Try to stop all of his expansions, and you should do fairly well. Alright guys, this has been Colbert with Colbert Tech Repair with this little ZvZ analysis. I hope you liked. If you did, give it a like. If you didn't, feel free to give it a dislike. If you'd like to see any more commentary, please feel free to let me know. You can find me here on YouTube. You can find me on Twitter at TanColbert92, and you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Colbert Tech Repair. See you guys next time. If you're here for the technology, well, I also do things like this. I do magic